Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Breaking Bad. Last time on Breaking Bad, we had the mid-season finale, Gliding Over All. Let me try to remember what happens. See, I actually did, this is the first time, you know how normally I'm like, oh man, I don't remember because I haven't edited that video yet. I have edited that video, and I still don't remember, so it's not that. It's just general memory problems for me, apparently. Let's see. Well, I mean, we had... I'm really trying to think of everything. I mean, we had the aftermath of Mike. We had some time pass, and Walt, being successful with Todd. And he did give Jesse his $5 million. And Walt actually got out. He said he was done because, Skylar showed him the giant pile, Scrooge McDuck pile of money. And he was like, yeah, that's enough. And so he's out, and I think the kids are back home. And then at the end, Hank found Gail's book in Walt's bathroom and realized, he's putting the dots together, basically, that Walt could be his new lead on Heisenberg. So, yeah, I think we're gearing up for a pretty crazy back half of the season. So, yeah. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. Excuse me. This is also where I say that if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of Breaking Bad, what you gotta do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment. Click on the link. That will take you over to the reaction. You can watch it just like a normal reaction. And when you're done with that, you can pop right back over here to this YouTube video for the discussion. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this episode of Breaking Bad. Here we go. Okay. Yep, this is going to be one insane final half of the season. Final arc of the show. Hank has found his final lead, and this time he's found the man he's been looking for the whole time. He found Heisenberg. Oh man. Now, is Walt's cancer actually back? I mean, I guess it has to be if he's... Because they show him on chemo, They show him going through the chemo treatment. So, considering we haven't had that in a long time, I would imagine, yeah, he is telling the truth on that. But the thing is, in about 9 months, we have the Denny's future, which I am still calling it that. In 9 months, we have the Denny's future. And he's still alive. That's the thing. That's at least 3 months after Walt said, Oh my gosh. Oh boy. So, let's go ahead and hop into the notes. The first thing I wrote down was Denny's. We got another scene. I mean, it's been, since episode 1 since we saw anything with the Denny's future, which I'm going to keep calling it the Denny's future. So, yeah. We got a new scene of Walt's house just being completely, closed off. And it's definite that the news got out about Heisenberg. Which is interesting that it's like, okay, so he must have fled then. He must have fled, but he came back, obviously. He came back to get the ricin, which is interesting. But it's obvious that news about him got out because that's why Carol, sees him and is terrified. So we're definitely now fully on the path of the Denny's future now. So, I'll be curious. Like, I would imagine that will be at least the final episode, but I'm almost wondering if maybe it'll be a bit more. Because the thing is, we have, was it 7 more episodes, I think? We've got 7 more episodes of the show. So, in already, at the beginning of this final arc, basically, Hank has already confronted Walt as Heisenberg, you know? So yeah, like, it's very interesting, like, okay, I wonder when we're actually going to get the Denny's future, you know? And it's interesting because, you know, obviously Hank doesn't know about Skylar's involvement, you know? Which is interesting. But, man, just when he, you know, starts bringing up all the points, like, it was you that made that call. That wasn't Pinkman. That was you that made that call that Marie was in the hospital. You had my cell phone number, you know? So that was crazy. So yeah, the Denny's future, we are definitely on our path towards that now. Hank really, like, you know, it's interesting because it's like, I guess it's interesting just how it affects him differently than everyone else. Like, you know, every time he's been like, okay, maybe it's this Gale guy, or, oh, why does he have chicken? Maybe it's Gus Fring, you know, all this stuff, and oh, now we're on Mike, you know, because he worked security for Fring. So, but now it's like, oh, shit, it has to be Walt. And that's the thing is, the book doesn't just implicate Walt as being a part of this, it implicates him as Heisenberg. The man that Hank has been looking for the whole show. Back to, they show from season 1 that footage of Walt and Jesse stealing the original methylamine, you know? All the way back then in season 1. That was like episode 2, you know? Like, this is the person Hank has been looking for this whole time, and it's taken him to Gale and Gus and Mike, and now he has truly found Heisenberg, his arch enemy, his great rival, the Moriarty to his Sherlock, basically, you know? Oh man. So yeah, it's like, that's the thing, it's like, he shouldn't be driving, you know? And luckily, that wasn't a horrible crash, it was just, you know, accidentally drove into someone's yard. But yeah, and it's interesting, you know, he didn't have a heart attack, but it was basically like an episode, you know? It was definitely like a panic attack, I guess, you know? So that was really interesting. But he doesn't really have, he just, I guess it's just because of the swell of emotions and everything from learning and connecting all the dots and stuff. And probably while he was driving, he was connecting more of the dots that he, you know, laid out here. So yeah. I wrote down tutorial. We had Lydia return, asking for Walt to come back for at least a week just to show how to properly, you know, make the blue meth, which is interesting. Which I understand that. I guess she might not know that Jesse... I don't know, because she knows Jesse, because Jesse was there, too. But that's the thing, is that, honestly, you could go to Jesse. Jesse knows how to make it exactly as good. Walt has admitted that Jesse can make blue meth as good as Walt can, you know? He is just as good a cook. And he has given tutorials before, down in Mexico. So, yeah, honestly, if Lydia really needs someone, she should go to Jesse. Now, whether Jesse wants to do that or not at this point, that's a whole other question, but she could at least try with Jesse. But yeah. But I also like with that moment with Skylar, like, it honestly does feel like, you know, like, in another situation, it's like, oh, this would be like, you know, the mistress that Walt, you know, used to cheat on with. And it's like, it's kind of like that, but with business, you know? It's like, you know, the wife coming in to the mistress and being like, get the fuck out of here, you little bitch, and stuff. And it's like, no, it's it's really, oh, I mean, it is that, but it's basically not tempting to sex, it's tempting to business. Like, I just kind of like that little dynamic they had there. You know, it's like, stop tempting my husband to do business. Like, I don't know. I'm curious if it was intentionally written that way. You know? It kind of felt like that. But yeah. So, that was really fun. Let's see. We had the whole thing with Jesse and the $5 million. So he was going to give $2.5 million to the parents of Drew Sharp, the kid that died. But Saul did bring up a good point that it's like, look, that's just going to bring up more questions. You know, their son has been missing for 3 months now. No, not even. We're on 4 months now. Yeah, we're on 4 months now. So the Denny's future is only like 8 months away. I really need to keep a timeline on this. Yeah, so it's been 4 months since the kid's death. So it's been 4 months since the kid died, since Todd killed him, and so now, so 4 months of the parents just thinking he's missing, not even that he's dead. They don't know he's dead. They just think he's missing. Suddenly, $2.5 million show up on the doorstep. Yeah, that is going to raise more questions. Like, our child is missing and now we have been paid money. What does that mean, you know? So Saul has a good point there. And yeah, it would be difficult to give the other $2.5 million to Kaylee Ehrmantraut because, you know, they're watching that family closely and they've already taken her money twice, so they could easily do it again. So yeah, it's all a bit tricky, isn't it? And then that scene, Jesse totally knows. Jesse completely 100% knows that Walt killed Mike. And, you know, there is the logic at first of, you know, if you killed all of Mike's guys but he was still alive, you'd be looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. And that's true. And I think, I don't know, like, I'm curious, like, you know, at the end, he obviously gives a look like, obviously he doesn't believe Walt for a second. But I'm curious if it's more, does he have proof? Maybe, who knows, it wouldn't make sense to have any security tapes at their office, because why would you have security tapes at your illegal business, you know? But it could be something like that, or he just genuinely doesn't believe Walt, you know? Which, that's the thing, Walt did give a bold-faced lie there when he said that he didn't kill Mike, so, and that is a lie. And, you know, we've been saying for a little while, like, oh man, you know, it's interesting how Walt can talk to, like, Marie or someone and doesn't actually lie, you know? He doesn't actually lie, but there he 100% lied. And he kind of lied to Hank, you know? He kind of lied to Hank a little, just from a certain point of view, basically. But yeah. And then the last thing with Jesse was that he just doesn't want the money, and so he is starting to just chuck it everywhere just to get rid of it, which is interesting. And then the last two things I wrote down we can just kind of do in succession. The first thing is the tracker. So that's interesting, you know. Well, first off, just that Hank is doing this outside of work, you know, which is interesting. So he clearly isn't telling Gomez or anything, so he's doing this all on his own, which I don't know if that is the best idea. Maybe it's just because, you know, this case is so ludicrous that it would probably be impossible to actually do this at work, which is why he's doing it at home now. But then he puts the tracker, secretly putting the tracker on Walt's car, which is insane, you know? So he did that off screen basically, but Walt found it. So That was really, really crazy. And then, yeah, just that confrontation between them was just crazy. I mean, just Hank just decking him. And then just, holding him up. It's like, no, it was you. You're the one I've been looking for. You're the one that did all this. You bombed a nursing home. And it's like, man, when you really say all this out loud, it's like, yeah, he really is a fucking psychopath, So, that was just crazy. I kind of want to watch it again, but we're about to finish up, so... but anyway, yeah, so that was really, really crazy. I just love all that. And then, it was just interesting, because like, have Skylar bring the kids here, then we'll talk. And it's like, that's not happening. It's like, oh shit, real confrontation here. And then, saying it's like, look, my cancer is back. I'll be dead in 6 months. I'll never see a jail cell, So I'm wondering if it's more, hey, there's no point in actually getting me. And he basically says that he is out. He says, hand to God, I'm a dying man that owns a car wash. And technically, yes, he is. But what he was is very apparent. And so it's an interesting thing of, look, I'm out. I'm done. I'm not doing anymore. So there's no point in prosecuting me, because it will just destroy the family. All of them will go down because of this, and in 6 months he'll be dead anyway. So what's the point? So I'm curious what will happen with that, I'm very curious what will happen with that. Like, would Hank... Cause I don't know. I don't know if Hank would actually drop it, Oh, I don't know. Hank's next move is going to have to be very careful because, yeah, it is possible what Walt said is true, that he will die in 6 months. However, we, the audience, know that's not true because we've seen the Denny's future. So that's the thing. Hank doesn't know the Denny's future. So in 8 months, basically, Walt is still alive and he's out, But something is going to happen, definitely. Something is going to happen, but we're just going to have to figure out what it is. And then I also like that line, just, if you don't know who I am, then you should tread lightly. It's like, oh, shit. Oh, man. Oh, man. That is an intense episode to start us on the back half of the final season, and I am all for it. And I am excited to see where we are going for the rest of this season. So yeah, that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Breaking Bad reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.